So we're back over here now, and one other thing I do carry, as well as Vaseline, is a battery tester, or fence tester I should say, sorry. Now, I want to check out to see what's wrong here, because somewhere along this lane, I'm hoping that our fence isn't working. Funny enough, I can fix that easily, but you can see the way the wire here is laying loose. And this is where the calves went in last night, so they must have barred through it, but there's posts broken further down. We'll go down there in a minute. I'm hoping it's just shorted out somewhere. That'll be an easy fix. The thing about cattle is, you know, electric fences, once they get used to electric fence being on, they'll never go near it. But when they figure out it's off, well, give them an inch, they'll take a mile. I'm just going to stick an earth in here. I want to just check. So I didn't turn the fence off. It's on now at the minute. But there is no electric running through that at all. You see, there's no lights there. I have a sneaky suspicion I know what's causing it, but I'll know more now in a second when I go to this side. Fingers crossed we have power here. Yeah. Look at that. Every light lit. So this is something I've talked about before. The quality of some of the stuff you buy now is just not the same as what it used to be. And the reason why my fence and why my calves got out through this paddock is because of this stuff here. Look at the way that rusted out and just rotted everything before it. That roll of underground cable that I got, one of two, I use in quite a few different places. I'm just checking around here to see what the rest of it's like. No, that's all different. Just to give you an idea, there's the different stuff there, you see? And that there is on about 4 years. The problem with that is I have a lot of it on now, and I'm going to have to go around and change it all, because this is what happens. It stops working, and then your calves are out and your fence isn't working. So good news is it's an easy enough fix. I'm going to have to fix it now. I'm going to put on new tape here anyway. It hasn't been replaced in the last 2 years. But by the way, that stuff that's there, that underground cable, that was replaced last year. There's a video. If you go around and check, you'll see a video of when I was working up here, and I replaced that with new stuff, and that's all I got out of it was 1 year. So just gives you an idea. Nicole and Sophia is over there, and they're going to turn off the fence now and let a big shout when they have it off, so we don't burn the whiskers of ourselves. And we're going to fix this real quick. All right, so get rid of this beautiful stuff, and not even have to cut it. Just put your hand and it'll fall apart. So when this stuff rotted, it rotted then into this tape as well, because there's steel wire in it too. So we'll replace everything. So this time I'm not going to use any underground cable at all. I have no faith in it. So I'm just going to use a bit of ordinary wire and just going to put on this insulated cover here instead. Now, some people don't like this tape, and it's all right. I find it does the job. You place it every 2-3 years, and it's dirt cheap. And I need to bring over a couple of new handles. I'm not going to replace that one there. There's no cattle in this paddocks, or will be in these paddocks for a wee while yet. But you can see the way that's rusted, so that's a little bit of a shortcoming there. But the handle is broken. I need to get a couple of new handles, so I'll sort that out later on. You might wonder as well, the bottom row is not live. I'll be taking all that down now in the next 2 weeks. That was just when we were training our calves to stop them from running through it. Because a lot of times they won't be fit to see this strand wire here. It's pretty hard to see it at times, even for myself. But this white tape just showed them where it was. It's not live. This is something I just want to show you here real quick. Just a junction that we do here. My bit of routing anyway. I know a lot of people have asked about this when they've seen it back about a year or more ago. And this is the way I divide up paddocks. So say you had 4 fences coming to one post in the centre. I know there's only 3 here at the minute, but sometimes there does be another one running there, and let's imagine there is. So the power of the electric is coming on the top row here, the whole way to here. That's what brings the power to this. So I just use the ordinary screw-in insulators. And what I do is I bring an underground cable from one to the other to the other. You can see they are quite simple. And then I drive in a steeple along the side of each one. So if I don't want power going down there, for instance, all I have to do is hook it off and hook it onto that steeple. And that's it, it's dead. It's heading nowhere else. Same here with this one. If I don't want power going on down the bottom of this field, which goes down a nice bit there towards the road, I can just hook it off and hook it onto the steeple. And again, that's it, it's disconnected. So you can do it any way you want. And there's no power on this then, it's dead, so you can hook it onto the steeple. It's not going to be running power through anything, and it's not going to be earthing to the ground. It's just a simple little way I've always done it. There's another little thing you could use here. I've used these a couple of times now. I think they're fairly new on the market. But when this goes around the post like that, you nail it on, or screw it on the whole way around, and then your wire goes around the post and fits into these kind of slots here. So you imagine that that's screwed onto the post. You can pick this up and you can hook it onto the wire now the whole way around, and that will power any levers or any latches you have coming to that post. It's a good idea, but it still need a nail or something that you can hook it on to if you want to disconnect the power. Someone sees an idea and they take advantage of it and they're dead right. But that there works. Out of the way, dopey! So there must have been a bit of a party on here last night. There's one, and there's the other one sitting down there. So I have a feeling with calves, used to that now, that something probably startled them. Maybe a vehicle going over the road normally can do that. And they took a bit of a gallop and they were through it before they knew they went through it. We're going to take these two posts home with us so we can make some sort of an art sculpture out of them. And this is not going to be fun because this ground is sandy ground and it'll be extremely hard to drive anything into it. Yeah, that's like concrete. Alright, so I'm just after shouting over to Nicole there to turn on the electric fence again. That wasn't only a bit that they damaged. They actually levelled the fence on the lower side of this paddock as well, so they obviously had a brave old party last night. But anyway, let's just test this place again now that we tested the last one and see what we're looking like now. I suspect we'll have lights. Yeah, there we are. Full lights right to the top. I don't know if you can see that. Here's probably one of the biggest potholes in Ireland. You can see how dirty it's got here. Yeah, that's a tight pothole. Wow, here's our spot here. Or another part of our fence here which is a bit wrecked. So obviously the calves must have come running down here. It's very, very steep. So they obviously came charging down and they barged to it before they even seen it. Now these two white pegs and a third one were put in quite a while ago because a couple of the wooden posts broke and I probably had none with me. Temporary job that became a permanent job. So no time like the present. I suppose there's a good chance now to just fix it and be done with it. So I can just hear the girls singing. They don't know I'm down here, so the two of them are singing away, top of their voices up there painting the bales. And it's nice to see they got their singing from their dad. Thankfully there's no pens that last around here that can break. So before my battery goes dead, there's that salt there now, and hopefully they last a bit longer. At least it can let me heifers in when I want. I put a gripper here and I add a new piece of wire to the end. I always like adding these onto a long stretch of wire because you can always come over so easily. Just untangle one of these ends here, hook your tightening tool onto it and just give your fence a little bit of a tightening anytime you want. I find it a handy little thing to have on a long stretch. But that's it, I'm done here. All right, so we have something here in front of us I want to show you really quickly. Now, you might notice on our channel that we don't do much sponsored stuff. And it's not for the want of offers, but 95% of the stuff I turn away because I find if it's not completely relevant to what I'm doing or the work I'm doing, there's no point in me having it. That's the way I feel anyway, right or wrong. But once in a blue moon, there is something that does immediately catch our attention. I always run it past Sinead as well, by the way, and she makes a lot more decisions than I do, and she even said instantly, we knew what we'd use this for. So this particular one here is an Ecoflow Delta Max 2. On the display here, you have input and output. So the input bit will be how much wattage is coming in. In the output here on the bottom will be how much power is going out. So here we have USB-C at 100 watts and another 100 watt USB-C here on this side. Then on the top we have your ordinary standard USB-A, but this fast charge here is going to be very, very handy for me because a lot of the batteries that I'm using now need a fast charge. Like here for instance the Maverick 3 Air. Just turn on the USB here and now it's starting to charge the batteries. It's also charging the batteries, which I go through a lot of them, for my cameras as well that I use every day here when I'm filming. Now that we have turned around here, we can also see that we have a 3 amp outlet here. We have then an ordinary, what we call a cigarette lighter port here as well. For these here then, you can turn them on just here. It's just the same way. You'll hear it beep. You look here now and there it is. It's starting to charge that battery. Now if you look at the output, you'll see that it has jumped up to 118. And you can see here our hours have went down. So this here will charge that battery continuously for 14 hours straight, as well as been running these. It has a total max output of a continuous load of 2400 watts. And on a peak load, it'd be around about 4800 watts. The battery pack that's in it can be charged from completely empty to completely full 3000 times. So that's 10 years of continual daily use until the battery goes down to 80%. It's interesting, I was going to do this video yesterday and I put a post up on our Instagram that our power had went off. And it's mad that the power went off as soon as I went to make a video on a power pack. Now, I have a petrol generator that will run my house. I could use this, but I'm not. The reason I'm not going to use this is I'm going to have this from my parents' house. They have needs for certain things in the house, especially age-related things that needs power. Another good thing you can do with this is you can buy extra battery packs. If this doesn't do you can go up, I think, as far as 6000 watts, as far as I know. And these ports here are just to hook your batteries into. They look pretty much the same as this here, only it won't have a display on it, but it will be just a solid battery that you just plug in and that doubles up your power. One other thing that came with this is a solar system. So this folds up, it came in a kind of a case, which was only this size here. We haven't it set up at the minute, but you can see holes here the whole way across it where you fix it to wherever you're going to fix it to. I think you can get a couple of different types of solar panels for it, both smaller and bigger. And you can also double up on these as well. I'm going to mount that on the roof of my garage, have it wired into the shed below. I'll have this in the shed and I'll have it constantly plugged into that solar panel so that every time I need this is ready to go and I don't have to plug it into the mains at all. We hooked it into the back here. You can see here the port that we hooked it into. Here on the top, there is another port underneath to hook a second one into. If we turn it around now, instantly, you can see that it is charging now and we're getting an input of 166 watts. And it says here it'll take 15 minutes to charge it back up to 100%. I'd imagine anyone who goes camping, I know that's getting popular. Friends of mine now seem to go camping quite a bit. So this would be perfect for camping or even going to the beach. Bits and pieces you need. If you're going anywhere, just throw it in the back of the car. And you'd have a power there instantly for whatever you want to power up. Now, my personal opinion on the solar panel, pretty much from the beginning was, I think it's kind of something you nearly need to power with it. But I think the idea is to store power when you can, to have it when you need it. And the only way to really store power without actually paying to store the power, if you get what I mean, is a solar panel. And that one that says, just looking by what way it's charging it there at the minute, it's already down to 4 minutes now. To me, if you're going to go with one of these, it'd be pretty much a no-brainer that eventually you'd add a solar panel to it. One other quick thing to note as well is it's all worked by an app on your phone as well if you want to use it that way. At the minute there you can see that it's charging away, it's at 99.3%. You can control the whole thing inside your tent or whatever you're in. You don't have to go out and let the Blair Witch get you. There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a platform here. Just sit it on top of that. Just a bit of timber, heavier timber than what I'm after bringing over here. And just sit it down there and that'll be all ready to rock. This all done different now. The last time I had it, I had a hole going through here where we had a wire going through there to hook up a generator outside. Generator run on petrol, so it had to go outside. Just for fumes and everything that goes along with that, so there was no other way around it. Outside was the only place. But now, once we have this, we've done away with that wire completely. We took that socket off the wall outside, and now we can run everything from inside here. So literally we're just going to plug it in here. But all we have to do is turn on our lights, and bingo. There we have our lights now in all the rooms running at the one time. So the output now is 64 watts running all those lights, and that'll give us 23 hours of run time, constantly non-stop. It's a no-brainer for working over here. You see, the thing about it is a lot of people said, Aidan, you do a lot of work over here in the summertime, you'll never be over here at night. But the reality is when you're making cows and doing that kind of stuff, my quietest time of year is November and December. And that's when I plan to do some stuff in here and work away. That to me on its own, without bringing any petrol generator over here, you see how handy it is just to hook it on the back of the quad. Easier to get from home to here and back home without any trailers or anything needed, and that's a huge benefit. Able to work over here now without any need for a generator. Is silence. There's no petrol running outside, and you're conscious of it when it's a petrol generator because you know it's eating up a lot of fuel outside. But with that there, having the solar panel set up at home, keeping it charged all the time, I'm not doing anything. Yeah, so one of the conditions of them sending this out to me, and one of the things they did ask for in return, was to mention that they are running a sale, which is running at the moment from the 18th of September right through to the 16th of October. So it's a lot of money to be saved on them, so you can go and check that out for yourself on the website. But they're also running a Prime Day, which is between the 8th and 9th of October. So yeah, literally only in 2 days' time from probably when you're watching this video. If you are interested in something like this, and you want to save yourself a few pounds, at least price one, put the information in the link below and you can do all of that yourself. Thanks very much for Ecoflow to send this out to us, and hopefully we won't break it. Here's the Delta Max 2. Let's get back to work. She's completely blocked. That actually needs a new filter, so I'm going to have to order one of those. I'm just going to blow it out now, and that'll do for the day. We're at a job here where I said last year I wanted to get done. These pair of trees fell last year. We did a little video on it. We had a couple of bad storms last year. Funny enough, only getting near it now to clear them up. Well, we've a lot of them cleared up. These weren't on the ground completely, so I didn't mind. It's lovely and dry for once, and we're fit to do this now when it's dry rather than mucking in around at the bottom of it. Now, some people might say the ivy might have brought these trees down. Believe it or not, if I can show you here better, see the old cut where I've took the ivy off before? But it's a never-ending task, and it would be completely impossible to go around and do them all. The trees and hedges around here, the ground and everything is just walking with ivy. But I don't think it was the ivy that took these trees down, in fairness. The thing that took them down, I'm sorry, I don't have a mic with me. There's a drain here, and this drain was cleaned about 3 years ago. It needs to be cleaned again. So here's the roots of these trees. And you can see the way they just lifted clean out of the ground. Both roots came together, that's why both trees went at the one time. So there wasn't an awful lot of foundation for these trees to stay standing. It's just where they were. And there's another tree there, which I'm going to take the ivy off today now when we're at it, which will probably follow suit eventually. Alright? A lot of our farm, but 90% of our ash trees I've noticed this year are dead. There's ash dieback, unfortunately. And it's only when I was watching one of the Funky Farmers videos that it brought to my attention back a few years ago. And when you start looking around the countryside, you start realising how bad of a problem it is. And the ash, just this last year, 2 years, has been completely annihilated around us. A lot of that stuff that's dead is going to fall eventually. And there's no doubt about it. But anyway, today, time is of the essence. I need to plough into these here. Sorry if the wind's destroying the audio on this. I hope you can hear me. It all depends which way you face the camera. I forget which way it works, but anyway, we're well on through it. The saw is just out of petrol there, and take a wee break for a second or two, but we're ploughing into it nicely. The old ivy makes it twice the job. very hard to do when there's ivy on it. But once you keep the head down, you'd be surprised how quickly you get through it. We have a lot of old bushes here to take care of as well. I suppose if I had left this for another month or more, there wouldn't have been any leaves in it. It probably would have been easier even again. But then the ground would be soaking, so I'd rather put up with the leaves than having to tramp through wet ground. It's lovely to work when it's dry. So I'm going to fill these jugs with petrol, go home, get maybe a cup of tea or something, and come back, and we're going to finish this off, at least get this all blocked out today, and that'll be one job ticked off the list. Right, there we are. That's a nice bit of sticks there. It might look like a shrubbery, but there's a lot of sticks underneath all of that. So I'll race home, get the bucket on. We'll get these sticks gathered really quick now that the weather's playing. Oh dear, did I look? There's a heavy looking buck coming now. It's all hazy, so there's a shower of rain there. So no time like the present, let's get that done. Alright, so we're just waiting here because another shower is after coming. After getting soaked there with the first one. I'm having to watch my phone here. iPhone, whatever it is, 13 I think, or yeah. But you know on a phone where if you hold a button a certain way, or hold the power button I think it is, it rings the emergency services. Well, mine is ringing it randomly. I don't know, there must be something not right with it. It hasn't been right, that phone, since the day I got it. I think the old iPhones were much better. One of the biggest glitches it has now, if I go to the local pub and Sinead tries to ring me, usually, you know, just let me know what time it is or whatever, it doesn't ring for some reason. Seems to be all out of coverage just around that pub. Alright, so it's just gone 10 to 5 now in the evening. We started this around about 12:30 in the day, so we have it all cleared now, and the whole ground and all the owl ivy and stuff all gathered up. And this is my last load. We had 5.5 say of sticks out of it, so a nice bit of lovely burning sticks. Ash is great for burning. Just have to block them up, but I'll do that another day. It's the following morning, and that is that job done. I have the trailer on the back of the tractor here. I'm going to start loading some of these bushes into that trailer and get rid of those. I'm going to have to just dump them in the corner of a field rather than sitting out there and let them rot away. Today is the 2nd of October, and it's very hard to believe that, because look at that sky. And I haven't been able to say that on the channel. I'm going to relish being able to say it now, because we have to take some positivity from that. It's days like these that makes this job very enjoyable. I'm looking over there and I can see my cows just laying out. Well, they're not laying at the minute, but they were laying there a while ago. And they're basking in the sunshine, grazing away. There's not a worry on them. They're as happy as Larry. My cattle this morning over on the other farm, like a lot of people's cattle, they're very content. When the weather's good and it's dry, cattle are happy. And that's a lovely thing to see versus what we had last year and all last summer, which was pretty awful. The cows were in about 10 days or more at this stage, full time that is, to be able to have animals out on the 2nd of October with no silage fed yet, thankfully, but it'll not be long. Just nice to be able to enjoy that versus what we've been through over the last while. And I think it lifts an awful lot of people's spirits. So I'm going to get this all loaded into the trailer, get this job tidied up and finished with a bit of wiring to fix up here where the trees came down as well. So I better keep ploughing on. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.